The great thing about Baselane is once you are logged in, this is kind of the dashboard. It kind of can show you everything here. But my first thing that I would suggest is adding your properties. You can add as many properties as you'd like. There's no limit to how many properties you have or property type. And I say that because it really does correlate with the three core features I kind of highlighted. So you'll add your property, it'll be listed here. If it's not listed, you can select other and customize. What's important to know is when you provide your nickname, you can then, add the address here and put it in here, and then you can do multiple units. You can distinguish by beds. You could do single unit. It's up to you. But once that property is created, it will be listed here, and you can always go in, select details, and you can also add your property financials. So we'll automate a little more of the mortgage details, but you can put in your purchase price, closing costs, mortgage payments. We do have Zillow API in here that usually can work. This might not be available for this property, but it will show you a Zestimate as long as the address matches what is on Zillow there, and you can put in that market value. Now, once you've added your properties, I really recommend heading over to Baselane Banking because that's where you can open those bank accounts and really, see the fun begin. You can open as many bank accounts as needed for your real estate business. So if you have several entities, separate EINs, maybe you have a series LLC, you can go over to the business tab here and actually open each of those entities separately. It's about 5 steps, maybe even less, but we'll ask for the EIN, we'll ask for the beneficial owner, officer information. And once you've submitted your application, we do say it can take up to 24 to 48 hours, depending if we need other documentation. Again, each application is different. So sometimes some applications may not need any documentation, some may do. But think about like EIN confirmation letter, articles of incorporation, operating agreements, maybe an address verification, things like that. We also give you the option to open bank account as a sole proprietor. That's an individual. So no joint accounts, but it would be for an account like maybe you closed on a property in your name, you haven't formed an LLC, or you have a few properties that are under your name, you haven't formed that LLC. This is where you can open a business banking account for, your legal name and then create those virtual accounts for each of those properties if you'd like. Sole proprietor accounts can only be opened once, so you could not open additional bank accounts under your legal name, but of course you can go in and instantly create those virtual accounts as well. So once the applications have been submitted, like I said, it takes about 24 to 48 hours. Of course, our support team is here to help with any questions you might have with any existing applications, or if you'd like to speak further on that. It'll also show, where you are with this. This is just an example. It looks like one of my applications are under review, but then these are all of the bank accounts. And what's great is, you can click on here. This is something that's kind of new, and bear with me, but we can give you kind of a guide. I love this. I think it's awesome. So it's a setup guide to help you kind of create your accounts. So maybe as an example, in this regard, we're giving you, examples of maybe having a CAPEX reserve, a vacancy reserve, a new deal, a security deposit. This is 100% a suggestion, but, it can also show you those types of guides. It can also tell you, connect your properties to them. Um, there we go here. So that is just another one. Don't worry about this. It's not real. And then, lastly, it can kind of show you the accounts that you have and such. So it is a pretty cool guide that I'm going to skip for now, but we also help you kind of set up your banking as well. Now, when you have a bank account with Baselane, like as an example, I'm going to go over to my long-term account here. You will have what we call a main account, and I apologize because I changed the name to this one, so I'll go over to STR. Yes, the main account. A main account for every Baselane bank account, it just that's what we call it. You can always go into your approved bank account here, click on account details, and this is where you're going to see, the legal account name, Again, we, Baselane, are not a bank. We are banking as a service. We offer it as a banking product, but we partner with Thread. They are there for FDIC insurance, bank compliance. You are using Baselane to transact. So if you have questions related to your account, you would reach out to Baselane as well. But this is where you get your account details and information. You can order checkbooks. We have those for a small fee here. You can set up minimum balance transfers if you are a Baselane Smart user, which I'll kind of highlight in a minute here. Um, and you can also tag your properties and you can change the nickname as well. What I love about it again with our bank accounts is that you can instantly create virtual accounts. I mean, I've created several here. So as I highlighted, if you have an LLC with several properties under it, why not create virtual checking accounts that can be for your individual properties? So you can tag it to a property here. So I can maybe find like Hillcrest. I can say it's my Hillcrest account. And when I click agree, it's going to be created in just a minute here. Um, Here we go. It's going to be created in just 2 seconds. And now I have a brand new account that is dedicated to Hillcrest. So when I'm ready to move funds, I can move funds into this account instantly. I can take these account details. My apologies, moving too fast. I can take these account details here and they'll be different than the main account. It'll still be tied to that legal entity name, but it's an entirely different account number. So again, no commingling, separating. Also really great for um, investors out there that have to hold security deposits. If your banking, I'm sorry, if your state's requirements are very, don't have a lot of requirements, maybe it just needs to be in an interest-bearing account or in a non-interest-bearing account, you can open virtual accounts under your specific Baselane bank account. Now, we also offer savings accounts. So again, our bank accounts have no monthly fees, no minimum balances, and we're giving up to 2.93% APY on our savings. So I'm going to just quickly head over to the APY tier here and click learn more, but we do offer tiered APY. What's great about this is, you can earn the highest yield of 2.93% if you have an overall balance of $50,000 or more. This is based on all of your accounts combined. So all of my bank accounts combined, this is a great number. I have this amount. So I am at the highest yield, but the APY will be applied to what is in my savings account. So it is based on the overall balance of all of your accounts combined, but it is applied to what is in your savings. Now you'll see here that there are some green, you know, square boxes here, and that's giving you additional bonus if you collect rent into a Baselane bank account. And I'll kind of highlight that in just a few minutes here when we jump into the rent collection. But a bonus to Baselane users who are collecting rent into a Baselane bank account, one, it's free for your tenants. Two, you can earn a little bit more interest if you're in this range for collecting rent into a Baselane bank account as well. And we'll dive deeper into that when we're in the rent collection tab section here. Now, separate to, setting up your accounts, organizing it by strategy, by property, security deposit, maintenance reserve. The possibilities are endless here. Additionally, you might say, okay, well, I've organized this, but what else, how can I use these accounts separate from account number and routing number, right? You could go over to the cards and you actually have the ability to create virtual cards. They are virtual debit cards, up to 10 cards per account, so essentially endless. So what could happen here is like the main account will give you a physical card, but these virtual accounts will not have physical cards attached, but you can create virtual cards. Why do I love them? Well, first, you have the control. As an example here, I've created virtual cards for my property managers as I didn't really love executive decisions going around with my property and what spend was. So I created sort of a spend control, choosing which account would be funding this card. So I could have this card be for my STR property manager. I could put a spending limit daily or monthly. So maybe there's a max of $500 per day. I can assign it to my property. I can even assign it to expense categories. Our categorization is based off of Schedule E. So everything that's listed here, you can go under and actually see, additional subcategories as well with Baselane Smart. You can also add custom categories as well. And then when you choose, your specific auto tag. You can create the card. And then what's great is this card is going to be instantly created and it'll have a 16-digit card number with a Visa logo. You can add custom auto tagging to it. You don't necessarily need to, but it's like another way to utilize accessing those accounts and giving that spend control. These are also great for, reoccurring payments, maybe having a card dedicated for Amazon. If you're buying supplies, you can add them to your digital wallets, Apple Pay, Google Pay, all that good stuff. And then again, 10 cards per account, so almost like literally unlimited if you think about it. And when you're done with the card, you can always lock the card, you can always terminate it. So again, you do have that control and such. Now, as far as moving money, a couple of things that I love, in the send money flow, this is where, again, I mentioned in the beginning, you also can do the bookkeeping while you're transacting. So what's great is you can add a recipient. It can be an individual or business, the recipient name, email. You'll select what type of um, payment you want to have on file. So standard ACH within 3 business days, wire transfers. These are great because we have no fees to receive funds into Baselane. Whether you're wiring funds into Baselane using ACH, there's no fees. We do have a $15 outbound wire fee if you have per wire, if you have less than $50,000 as an overall balance. I obviously, in this example, have more than that. My wire fees are waived for me. We also have a mail a check option, which would allow us to create the check for you for a small fee. We'll mail it out to the recipient with postage. Now, in this case, you'll put the account holder's legal name here, their routing number, their account number, and tell us what type this is as well. Now, what's great is you're only going to have to do this once, and then you can store this information will be stored for you. So you can go over to next, and now you can tell Baselane, what payment method are we paying Joe as my example that I always use. It's my plumber. I've had a plumbing issue. I need to pay him $1,000. I can choose from whichever account I'd like. And then I can create one-time payments or reoccurring. Reoccurring, right? It's that set it or forget it. The start date is the day that I'm creating the reoccurring payment. It's not the day that the funds will leave the account. It's the day that I created this reoccurring payment here. Now, the repeat every, this could be monthly or week. You can choose the amount as well, or the amount of times it'll be sent. And the repeat on is the day that the funds will leave. So maybe it'll leave on the 5th of next month. You have the choice to do continue until you cancel, end on, or my personal favorite, after a certain amount of payments. Then we're going to show you, every date that the funds will leave. If the payment falls on a weekend, we do not process on weekends or federal holidays. But what's nice here is it'll pull the day prior, and we'll also list that as well. And so then my favorite here is also that you can choose, right? You can say it's a plumbing repair, and you can choose which account it's going to be. You can leave notes. And when you click next, you've set it and forget it. You've created, if I click save and continue, I've created that reoccurring payment, and I don't have to worry because when those funds leave the account, it's already tagged for me. And if I ever want to make changes to any reoccurring payment, I go to transfers and payments. This is where all the activity is. I can look at recipients, make changes here, send funds to them. And I can also look at scheduled. So some of these are scheduled here. If I want to change any, I can cancel the entire transfer. I can cancel the next transfer if I wanted. And then, you have that visibility and control here as well. And then lastly, additionally, you can also in Baselane Banking, transfer funds between accounts. You can automate this too. And that's kind of great as you can do this with external bank accounts and your Baselane bank accounts, with your savings accounts and your Baselane banking accounts. One thing I want to highlight about Baselane Smart and what we've offered is we also have minimum balance transfers. So you'll see this one here where essentially, we heard feedback from our users. Since these are separate accounts, they act separately. But if, in real estate, money is moved very fast. We're handling a lot of things. Sometimes we cannot remember to move money from the savings account that we're trying to get the most yield to a checking account, or maybe there was more funds in a virtual account and we needed to move it to the operating account. So here, what we offer with Baselane Smart is basically telling Baselane, hey, when my bank account is below 5,000, please top it up from this account, from my other Baselane account, under vacancies to reach that target balance of 5,000. So if this was at $2,000, they would top up to 3,000 because we're bringing you back to that 5,000. So it's a minimum, maintaining a minimum balance, and that really just helps you because you don't want to have insufficient funds. You want your bills to go through. So it's a nice way to also just have an assurance that your payments will go through and such, since these do act as separate accounts as well. And then lastly here, adding funds, the best way and easiest way to do that is to connect your external bank account to Baselane via Plaid, which I've highlighted. Why do I suggest this? One, you can get up to 24 months of data imported depending on your bank. Some might be less. And when you connect your external account, we are using Plaid to get that information. So you'll search your institution, you'll connect it here, and then what happens is the data gets imported into the transaction section. We can, of course, remove this. I can show you how. But if you'd like to utilize the bookkeeping for your external bank accounts as well, or even credit cards, you can connect them. Now, once you connect them, you can move funds via ACH. So if I have, there's not a lot here, sorry. I can move money from my checking account here over to any of my Baselane accounts. And then I can also, set up reoccurring transfers and such. What's nice here is it's already going to tag it as transfer between accounts, so you don't even have to worry about that either. And then separately with money movement here or adding funds to Baselane, we have mobile check deposit or connectable to PayPal and Venmo. You can always see your account routing numbers here as well. And check, we have the same routing number for wires and ACH, but this is another way to do that as well. Yeah, so before I move forward, how are we doing, Llama? Do I need to jump in with